watching League Podcast live on Substack and Riverside and whatever else. I guess we're not live. Whatever.
We're live talking right now.
We are live. You and I are live. But if you're watching this,
cameras on. We
yes.
were planning on doing our regular show tonight, but John is feeling under the weather a bit, so we never will miss the opportunity to fill the time up with something. And the other thing will come out later when John's feeling better. So sorry and shame, John, that you're not feeling that great.
Yes.
Cat.
Get well soon. We want you to get well. That's a Seinfeld reference, if anybody's into that. But welcome. So we have business, and we're going to talk about other things too. But so we have this it's new to us, new to me, whatever. This live auction thing seems to be taking the world by storm. I've been an eBay guy for a long time, as you know, and we did sell
You're
it
in
now.
charge of selling stuff.
Yeah,
you sell all my stuff.
I help
sell your stuff.
I sell a lot of my stuff, and a lot of it is comics because that's what I have a lot of, and so. But the live thing, and I get notifications from eBay sometimes being like, "This person is live," and I'm like, "Well, okay." So whatever. So I thought maybe I'll try this live thing. So I went to eBay, and eBay Live is still in beta. So like you have to ask them or basically express interest in it. So I said, yes, I'd like to do eBay Live. I have like 2,000. I have 100% positive feedback, almost 3,000, whatever it is, 2,000 something.
If I was in charge, I would sign this guy up. Rubber stamp.
I mean, there are people that have way more than me, so whatever. But like, I thought I qualify and whatever. So they're like, okay, have you done this before on other platforms? And I was like, I mean, I haven't, but I thought I'll just lie and say I did. What's the difference? Like, I figured this was just like a formality, so they wouldn't get like robots or whatever. But they were like, we'll like. So I said yes, and they said where, and I said Facebook, just to be, just to put something. And they said, please send us a link. We will check it. And I was like, what the fuck? So I decided I would try this Whatnot app. And try selling and try selling on there.
So jumping forward, once you've done the Whatnot, then you can send the thing to eBay.
Right. It's kind of a weird avenue to get to eBay, but it doesn't. I mean, if it works, maybe I won't. Right. I mean, if I have a good luck with it, maybe I'll just stick with it because there's a lot of comics and stuff for sale there. Basically what happens is this: you put up a comic book and you say, most people, it's like unless it's like a slabbed, like expensive comic, the prices are like $1 and it's 20 seconds or 10 seconds. Some people do like 10 seconds. You do like 20 seconds. There's people hopefully in your show, they call it a show. And if it sells, for $3, then that's whatever. That's what it sells for. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And usually, I don't know. Usually, it seems like there's like, I don't know how many people might be in your show, but like they might win more than one book. So that way you don't have to. You can ship them. You can combine shipping, which is convenient. So even though if you only sold them for a few bucks, you might have, it's worth your while to ship like a bunch of books to the same person. So I don't know. So I'm going to try it out. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I've been doing eBay since like 99, I think was my first time I ever tried it.
The red stapler or red paperclip days or whatever.
Do
you know about that?
I don't think I do.
So in the early days of eBay, it might have been the early 2000s. Somebody, you can look it up on Wikipedia, but somebody was like, I'm going to start with this red paperclip and then sell it. And then eventually the end of the story is they ended up buying a house. Because they like kept like selling more and more and more.
Like it was only red paper clips though, or they
one red paper clip.
Wow. So like
I have that story right.
All right. Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
And it was also kind of like viral, like people knew about it, so they were like buying the next thing, you know what I mean? They upgraded from like the paperclip to like a bike to a car to the house, like, you know, like they like kept, you know, that's basically the story.
It was a lot different then. It was kind of more innocent. You had to wait. Well, I mean, obviously you still wait to you don't ship it till you get paid, but like they had to mail you either a check or money order, and then you had to, you know, go to the post office and mail the thing. I sold a Ken Griffey Jr. autographed baseball. It was my first thing I ever sold.
Oh, nice. So,
yeah, it was pretty nice. I mean, I had it for many, many years. I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? You know, like, how am I going to sell this?
I remember the days of like being on like early corporate work computers and like Explorer or Netscape or whatever, and installing the remember the eBay like bar? Browser that like allowed you to track auctions and stuff.
Yeah,
I remember that.
They were fun days.
I'm trying to buy a, you know, Weezer CD or whatever. I don't forget. You know, my auction's closing soon. I hope I win it.
You had to like be there, you know, to and like you would get as a seller, you would like be like, it goes up, it got up at the last minute, and there was no. I mean, I guess there was a buy it now back then, but you had to reach a certain level as a seller to even list things as a buy it now.
Right.
So now everything is just for sale most of the time. So
yeah.
In a way, this kind of goes back to the auction, and it kind of just captures that last bit of an auction, like that last moment where you'd have the thing listed for 7 days or 10 days. 10 days you could list the thing for. But it would sometimes only get bids in the last like hour. So, you know, you know, this kind of, you know, I feel like this captures that that like kind of like anxiety maybe a little bit about it. Be like, oh my God, here it is. But it was a fun time back then. Once I sold that Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, I was like hooked. I was like, this is great. Yeah. So
because this is definitely something that you as Ultimate Dursin have like 10,000 hours. Like I would say, like, if I was selling anything, you're the first person I would ask, and you'd be like, yeah, well, we could try eBay, but you know, Mercari is better, or let's put that particular thing on Facebook Marketplace because I know it'll sell. Like,
right,
you know, deep knowledge of this.
It is from the 10,000 hours is probably being generous. It's probably way more. And considering like I'm still broke, it might not be money. It might not be time well spent, but it's okay. It's fine. It's still good. It's fun. But
we should pitch what's happening because we're recording this on our regular Wednesday night slot, but your live stream is Thursday, which is probably tonight if you're watching this when you got
Thursday the 12th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Check out Whatnot. It's under League Podcast, so you should be able to find us that way. League Podcast.
When I looked up, I just went to Whatnot. I was logged in. I had my account there, and I searched League Podcast and came right up. But obviously, we'll put the link where it needs to be. But so in the description and on YouTube and in Substack or wherever you're seeing this, you can. And you know what? And if you're seeing this later than that, we're going to do more, because one thing is that what I would like to do is you help me kind of figure out like a good way to do. I just have a ton of comics. I'm not attached to all of them. I'm attached to some of them, So I was like, how do I maintain my attachment to the ones I want to keep? And how do we get rid of some for space? And yes, to make money, but more like I would like to sort of churn and get a lot of them out of here. So hopefully this works out. We can start getting, I can start having, instead of 20 long boxes, maybe I get it down to 10, and then maybe I get it reverse paperclip. Maybe I get it down to a couple of long boxes or something like that. Cause I want to have my, I told you what I wanted to have. I want to tell listeners, I want to have my G.I. Joes. That's,
of course, untouchable.
That's untouchable. I want to have, I probably want to hold on to a lot of my, I definitely want to hold on to my Invincible run because I'd like to have a complete run of Invincible too.
Cool.
I want to hold on to most of my Spider-Man, most of my Batman, and maybe even like some kind of like a tier that I'm a little bit more flexible on, but I would like to keep, if I were to say you can have these forever, it's like Daredevil and Wolverine runs. There's good like Larry Hama books in there. Atlantis Attacks, of course. But you know, stuff that I got on we shared a spinner rack. That stuff that I like went to the spinner rack to buy when I was a kid. And that I have probably doubles of those comics or like the next issue in that run that I got in a quarter bin 10 years ago. But the ones that I remember buying as a kid, you know, like they're just special to me. I just wouldn't want to get rid of them. You know what I mean? So, but that is, I would say that what I want to hold on to is maybe 20% of the comics that I have. So like, let's fucking get them out the door. Make somebody happy with them.
For all those years where we were doing that, basically a comic review podcast, we bought a lot of comics, like almost 15 years probably, where we were every week talking about what came out that week. Oh, the new issue of whatever, X-Men, blah, blah, blah. And we would just talk about it on the show. So like we have a lot of those. Anything that I bought on a spinner rack when I was a kid, though, is not in excellent condition. So I wouldn't even, I couldn't sell them anyway. But like most of the ones I'll be selling are from the last decade or so when,
and same here. I want to I don't need to hold on to not even like the original Ultimate books, but like when they had like, you know, Ultimate X-Men reboot 10 years ago before they did the one they just did, you know, like I don't really need to have those, you know, like the Thor run, like a lot of the stuff is actually like if I want to read Jason Aaron's Thor, so I do like to read runs, you know, like a Frank Miller Daredevil run or Jason Aaron Thor. I can just read it on my iPad.
That's
without finding it. You know what I mean? It's
just call it up on the Marvel app. That's the thing about, like you said, Invincible. You're like, well, yeah, you can't just find that. You know, you'd have to get a service or whatever. Like, I guess it's an image thing to read that online.
Yeah, I'm sure you can read those.
You can find it, but I mean, if you already have them, I would. Yeah, but Marvel stuff that you can just go and get that's
in the Invincible also, in a way, has like the same special place in my heart as does the spinner rack, because when I first got it back into comics, we faithfully ran into each other at New York Comic Con. Just before that, I had run into somebody or asked somebody, I was like, what's a good, you know, I want to get back into comics again. What's a good one? And they were like, well, you know, if you like the comics we grew up with, Invincible is really good. Check it out. And this was before Walking Dead was on TV or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it was like, and so I started collecting in issues at around like 54 or something like that. So I don't even have the ones before that, but like my like love for the floppy comic books, and you know, like when I look at my Invincible 54, it's the same as me looking at my G.I. Joe number 46 that like was the first comic I ever got. You know what I mean? It's just yeah, exactly. So it's just like there's just certain things that I have like an affinity for that I honestly love, and it'd be like, oh, I'd be like kind of heartbroken if there was a fire and that all went up in flames. And I'm
there
like
was
pretty zen about that, having gone through a fire. If that
right,
did happen, I would be like, namaste, universe. Okay,
right,
I understand. But if I can hold on to that stuff and on the flip side, go back to Whatnot, get rid of a lot of the stuff that we got, even if it is good, even if it is Jason Aaron's Thor, even if it is whatever, like Bendis, Romita, Mac, kind of good comics, like let them go to a good home.
Sure. No, I'm not saying that none of these books have any meaning or whatever, but yeah, we bought a lot of comics in that time. Sometimes I just bought stuff just to have something to talk about too. So they just to say might not have any meaning, just to have something to talk about on, when we would record.
And we're keeping our friends in business in a way, like not
it
just
didn't work.
Not us. Well, like we kept you in business, but like we went to the store every week. If you were like only going to pick up the I don't know, the Batman that came up that week, you said before, it's like, I felt kind of bad only picking that up, so I got
right.
This and I
exactly.
Got this.
I would buy a couple more. I couldn't just go and get one thing.
Comics every week, 52 weeks a year.
Yeah.
Somewhere between, let's say, 5 and 10 comics a week. Maybe it wasn't that many. I'm trying to think of an average.
It was usually
adds up.
5. Yeah, like a 10 would have been a huge week for me. And then some people would go and they would buy like huge stacks of comics. And
I know that people would get their subs and they'd be like, what?
Yeah. And then like, here you go. That's $8,000.
I know. You'd be like, well,
if I spent 20, I would be like, fuck. That's
we had we can say it now. We had a cool like podcaster discount or whatever.
Yeah, for a little while we did. You know what's funny? Because they'd get like a new employee, and I'd be like, "This person doesn't know I have a podcast."
Yeah, because we got the same discount as if you were a subscriber, but we didn't because we were covering so many comics. We didn't grab the same thing every week or every month and drop stuff and pick stuff up in order to try new number ones or whatever. So like we basically got the subscriber discount. And if you can subscribe to a store that sells floppies and you're into that sort of thing, get the discount, have them hold your books. It's important for the pre-orders and everything. But yeah, we were basically getting that discount. We had to be like, we have a special discount. You have to press F10 on your computer, and you'll see my name in there. Yeah, press F10 or whatever. You know what I mean?
I didn't even know that. I would just be like, like a wink or something. I don't know. Like, but sometimes there would be another. They'd be like, he gets the discount. I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, and then like, you're not going to be a dick and be like, I don't get my discount.
I know you just pay the money, right? Like, I mean, it was like whatever, a $3.99 book would be like $3.49 or something, right? Like, it wasn't even a huge deal. But
that's a lot of comics between.
It's a lot of comics. You're right, 52 weeks a year for 10 years. I mean, that would be 520 comics. Let's just to make the math easy.
Conservative, right? Not including trades, not including anything you'd pick up at a convention, not including like stuff we'd get, I don't know, for free or whatever, or like quarter bins or whatever, anything like that, Yeah.
No, right. It's a lot of comics, so you gotta purge a little. And I've already sold a lot of mine on various, sites, and now I'm trying this. I'm trying everything. You know what I mean? Like I've tried, like you said, Mercari, and I've done eBay. I've done Facebook Marketplace. I used to do Craigslist a little bit once in a while. I did a crazy thing, and I guess I feel a little bad because I would do this thing. I would put a bunch of comics that I kind of knew weren't worth a lot of money, right? Like I knew they weren't worth money, but I would say, you can come and have, I also have a Coke Zero. I would be like, come by and you can have any comic, 20 cents, whatever, 20 cents, come and pick through.
Right.
Cause I did that once. Someone had done that. And I thought, this is fun. like, but some guy wrote to me and said, I'll take the whole thing for like $20 or something like that. And I knew they weren't any good. You know what I
mean? Yeah.
And then I even went through. Yeah. I was like, take them. But I even went through and like again and took a few out that I thought, well, this,
Wow.
So but some people just like to read comics. So like you said, I found a new home for some of these comics that I didn't,
Yeah, because
I wasn't gonna love.
I'm gonna get sick of them and just fucking donate them or whatever, like Connor did on iFanboy. You know what I mean? Like, something needs to happen with them because I just don't want to be burdened with them like Mary Kondo the comics like for the rest of my life. I can't be. It's not the only thing in my storage space, but like, it weighs on me. And since we're talking about the collection as a thing, like you were able to sell your comics because you kind of kept them organized. Like you would keep them organized every week. So a big thing that is like in infinite timescale, they're like, oh, we're gonna give you 4 weeks paid off and you don't have to do anything else. What I would do before I even went to Whatnot, this is not how we're doing this, by the way, but I'm just saying ideally, and as part of the larger conversation about wanting to still love and own these comics, but still get rid of some, I would want to take all the storage space comics, ask them, hey, can you open one of these doors in here? I'm going to rent this space for a day, set up a bunch of tables in there, and sort them all by series and as if it was a comic book shop, and then sell them. That's never going to happen. But I would love for that to happen.
Because no one has the time. No one really has the time to do all that.
You did it as you went, so which was like a smarter way to do it. Well, so mine are like maybe grouped by like, here's what I picked up that week. Here's what I picked up that week. Here's what I picked up that week. Like some of my runs, like G.I. Joe and Batman, are like they're at least in the same box or something, but a lot of them are just who's-y whatsy.
A lot of people will just put up like, here's a long box, you know what I mean, and they kind of know what's in it. But I don't know, I can't. And some people buy it hoping they're going to find that diamond in the rough, like a really good comic or whatever. And some people don't buy comics for value, as we said, they just want to read a bunch of comics. So yeah, it's funny. When I was a kid collecting comics, my dad would be like on like a Sunday afternoon or something, would just suddenly, because he got sick of them being around the house. So he was the first person who actually ever organized my long boxes. It was my dad.
Like, oh, nice.
So I guess that's where I got it from, to try and keep them in order, because that's what my dad used to do. He'd be like watching football, and he would have. I mean, back then I only bought like.
Yeah, it was not. It was like so not a lot of comics, really.
Yeah, it was Amazing Spider-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Avengers, or whatever like that. It wasn't that much, so it was easier to go through them, and sort them that way. But
when I would bag and board as a kid, I had a certain way that I did it, and I always thought that the piece of tape on a bag and board comics was incredibly harmful, wasteful. And what I did was, it has the flap, right? Yeah. So what I would do, you'll see eventually, because you'll see some
go over. Yeah.
But I would take like a little felt marker, and the flap would still be hanging out up there, so I wouldn't even like tuck it in or tape it down or anything. But I would write like Joe 89. So when I was like, I could like just look at the label and know what was in it. But also they weren't being protected by the thing. But also those bags we used when we first started collecting are probably like bad for the comics.
I think they were probably bad. Yeah. Now they have like acid-free, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I didn't even believe, I don't know why, I didn't even bag and board that much, unless it was something like, oh, the first appearance of wherever, I just thought that's a bunch of bullshit.
I would get like a new comic that I was excited about and have, let's say I had like Spider-Man #1 in like the nice Mylar with the board.
The McFarlane Spider-Man.
But then
there were none of those.
But then I got like G.I. Joe #2, and so I would be like, oh, I'm gonna downgrade because I had like one Mylar bag like that, so I'd be like, take it out of this one and put the G.I. Joe in there.
There you go.
And then like McFarlane Spider-Man will still have a nice bag and everything, but not that nice.
Look at the Mylar bag. It is crazy.
$1 for a bag? Oh my god.
Well, like,
you're a kid. You don't have any money.
No, I know. And if I bought a comic at like a show or something and it came in a bag and a board, like I would keep it in there. But yeah, those bags are probably shit anyway. And yeah, like I would I'd do the same thing. I'd be like, oh yeah, like this one doesn't deserve it anymore. But like,
yeah, it's like it doesn't deserve it. Like,
yeah. Oh no, this one's more. There's a hierarchy here. This one's more important.
Let me ask you this: at our shared New England comics in Brockton, when we were growing up, or another place. Well, do you remember like what maybe your first like wall book was?
Oh, I hardly ever bought wall books. I think they seemed untouchable to me. You know what I mean? Like, I did used to go to, you remember R&R, of course.
Yeah, R&R.
Yeah. So that was where I bought a lot of back issues and stuff. And, so, but I don't think I ever bought anything on the wall. I mean, those guys are such weirdos anyway, but I did buy I bought the Avengers Annual, which ended up being the first appearance of Rogue, which I had no idea that's what it was. I just bought it because
of all things.
I know she was in there. Like, and I didn't know that was her first appearance. I knew who Rogue was. I had read X-Men for a couple of years already. And so I just bought this random Avengers Annual #10, by the way. And I read it and it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, this is fun. Rogue's a bad guy, whatever. And then, I later that it was her first appearance. And of course I read it. So it's all chewed up and beat up now, but that's all right. That was like my first, not really a wall book, my first book of any value that I bought, not even really knowing that's what it was. Probably the guy in the store didn't know either, because he probably would have charged more for it, you know?
I think I got like G.I. Joe #2, or like there's like an early issue, or maybe it's up to 17. I don't know. But it's like, it's funny because in the corner box is like Lady J, and she's like, there's like a bullet popping up.
Yeah, that was 19. That was the famous 19, I think.
So that's the famous thing. There's like a tank on the cover, right?
Yeah.
Or something. I think I bought that one.
Man, that's a great issue.
The wall.
Nice.
The wall.
That's a good one. That's a good one to have.
So
that's a story, G.I. Joe 19.
Once again, when you've been podcasting about these comic books for 15 years, and now actually this is actually a League podcast.
It's kind of fun. We didn't plan on this, but I like it. Yeah, we're thinking about comics and
OG style, going back to get to the good bread. The
good bread. Oh my god,
one right up front.
Yeah,
just like George Carlin.
What did I say? No one's touched them. That was my.
Yeah.
I didn't want one that had been touched.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to think back now, like, because you and I both don't go to stores anymore. There aren't that many around.
I hardly read comics anymore.
Yeah, I read some old trades recently because I was like, this is fun, but like, but yeah, I was reading stuff in the app a little bit just for fun. It's good to read comics for fun again. That's what I think. It became kind of stressful, like, oh God, you buy them on Wednesday. We usually record it on Sunday for a while.
Yeah.
So you're like, I got to read stuff, I got to read things.
And then I would always be like, Amazing Spider-Man 252 was fun. No, I know you guys don't want to talk about it. Like right at the end of the episode.
We try to throw in a couple.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Well, yeah, on the one hand, it was good to get some variety because we didn't always read the same things, but also it's like, what do you talk about when the other person doesn't know anything about the book? But,
and much respect to the iFanboy guys for keeping at it for this long, and like they back then even and to now, like they followed a script, they have a plan, they know when they're going to read their books by. You know what I mean?
I know we were just like,
we're but you know they're inspirational in a way. So
oh yeah, they definitely were. They definitely were.
But we just couldn't even follow any sort of formula. So
I like that too. I like not having a script, but sometimes it did seem it's a little disorganized. But we were just fans. You know what I mean? We're just comic fans. We're not like.
And then there was like so many comic book podcasts that were like putting books out about it and stuff. You know,
why aren't we in that? We should be in that.
We're gonna be in volume 2. I know it. I know it. Oh man.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was fun. We were having fun, just talking. And then when the movies came on, it was
then there was movies.
Yeah. Anyway,
let's plug the live stream again. So it'll be tonight if you're watching this on Thursday the 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Go to the Whatnot app. Go to Whatnot on your computer, which you can also do, and search for League Podcast.
Yeah, there's some stuff in there. You know, like I said, there was mostly new stuff. There's a couple of old, you know, vintage comics as well. So it's a good mix. But just come for fun, you know. Hopefully it'll be fun. I don't know. Hopefully people come in, and we'll see.
That's awesome.
Because this is my first time, so help me out.
All right. Well, cool. That's awesome. And we were going to talk about 2 movies, but I'm going to insert a third thing in that we didn't plan to talk about because you started talking about Rogue. We have now finished Rogue One. Not Rogue One. We've now finished Andor season 2.
Yeah.
And I know that you probably finished it as well.
Yeah.
Watched it when it came out. And we did talk a little bit about it the last time, I think. And I was like, kind of, I wasn't hating on it, but I was like, whoa, I can't believe they did this or that. But my conclusion at the end of the series of season 2 was that just like Rogue One, that when I pictured when they were going to make new Star Wars, this is what I wanted. I wanted what Rogue One gave us, and I wanted what Andor gave us. It was great. It was so fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is it's kind of like what Star Wars should be or could be, I guess. The first couple episodes, I think we talked about this last time we were on video. I thought they were a little slow. I think that's what I told you, because I think you were like, I'm not really down with this, and I was like, no, keep watching because it builds. So
I thought it was going to I didn't even finish a Kosha or whatever or Ahsoka. I didn't even finish. I didn't even watch. I watched the first episode. And I was like, is this going to give me more of this? You know, but it really built up, and I've actually gone on a few rabbit holes, watching interviews with Tony Gilroy, and there's a lot of political stuff happening now that parallels the universe of Andor. It's not like he was basing it on anything happening now. He was basing it on stuff that happened in the past in different civilizations in different countries and different wars, and going back to ancient times pretty much. And really it is so fantastic. It was so good. And I love the way it's shot and all the sets, and if they're using the volume, they are, but they're building a ton of sets, and it was
it looks great. So
so good.
I think so too. And it's deep. There's a lot of crazy, and I don't even remember how they would be like, that's a callback to blah, 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 something something crazy, some little detail that I don't remember, or from season 1, which when we watched the recap, I was like, wow, I don't even remember half that stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember much. I kind of want to watch Andor
yeah, I
season
should
1
probably
again.
watch the whole thing again. But it is interesting, and yeah, there are definitely characters that end up in Rogue One and stuff like that. And yeah, it was really good, really well done. I thought it ended really well, like really cool. I didn't predict that. I know a lot of people who think that like Andor and Jyn Erso should have been like, like a thing, a
thing, yeah.
romantic, a couple.
Yeah, because that's what you get
the
from
shippers.
But that's what you would get in a Star Wars with Han and
Right.
Leia or Han and
In a
Luke.
Star War.
But that's what you
Or
get
Han
in
and
a Star
Chewie.
War.
But yeah, like
Right.
he already had a thing. Like that's why he was kind of like in Rogue One. He's kind of
almost.
Yeah, he's kind of bitter and angry because he had a girl, she left, but she was pregnant. Like I mean, deep. Sorry, spoiler warning. If you haven't watched Andor, that was a big reveal. I guess I shouldn't have said that. But damn, I was like, oh, damn. I didn't see that coming. I suppose I should have. I don't know. But yeah, I like it.
It was just fantastic. It brings you right up to the events of Rogue One. And
right.
The I guess knowledge drop was when they had originally, even before Rogue One, they were like, George, not just Lucasfilm, but George Lucas wanted to do kind of a prequel-y kind of TV series kind of thing. It eventually got to the Rogue One that we know and love, the movie. And with this series, they were going to do 5 seasons of Andor with Andor and K2SO, like buddy, kind of like the Mandalorian, like new episode every week, a new challenge, they move on and have adventures. But I think to keep in line with like that, Rogue One happens in a particular time in the crawl of Star Wars, or like a particular time in the 5 BBY or whatever to the Battle of Yavin. So they were like, let's tell the whole story in these 2 seasons. Let's wrap it up and like have it be really good.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a particular kind of storytelling they were going for. And yeah, they could have done more. They could have had all kinds of stuff between Cassian Andor and him getting in adventures and stuff, almost like a Firefly kind of thing, maybe, or something, like who is this guy?
Yeah. But that's a good way to.
I like. Hey, and they even had Alan Tudyk in it. So, but I think they did they did a good job, and like this is enough. Like sometimes less. I don't want to say less is more because it's like I said, it's deep and thick. There's a lot to it. But
it's like what we do in Shadows did not need to be for another 5 seasons, although we would love it.
Sure.
Why? Let's stop it now, or like let's tell the story. It's different with Andor because it is sort of time based, and the events have to happen on a certain pace to get you to a certain point. But I guess they could have stretched it out.
Yeah, they could have gone like way back, but I think it's better being a prequel. You can't do everything. Where it's going to end up eventually, so you're probably more apt to do something that the fans are like not happy with. You know what I mean? Be like, well, that doesn't line up.
Right.
Blah, blah. So it's better to just.
There was definitely like juicy. I was telling you about my YouTube comments about things that I was saying on my own channel, but like there was definitely like a lot of people like fucking didn't like it. I don't like it. They had bricks, and I don't like how they changed K2SO's origin story, or this was
I didn't know what is
some sort of canon or something. They're talking about a comic. They're talking about a K2SO comic. It's like come on, movies always trumps the. Whatever happens on screen trumps whatever happens in anything extra Star Wars stuff. You can still read that stuff and enjoy it. It's a different story. Who cares?
Yeah. No, it was good because like, it feels like every time I'm ready to be like, Star Wars, and like then they do something good. So
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, it
and
can be good.
I liked Skeleton Crew. It was fun,
Like
It's like
Skeleton Crew.
goofy.
What was the other one though? With like the twin girls. The Acolyte. Oh God, did you watch that?
Oh, that's what I meant to say when I said Ahsoka.
Oh, okay.
The
Well, they were
Acolyte.
both
I saw
good.
one episode. I saw
It
Ahsoka.
was so bad.
Was
I mean, I don't want to say
I
it's
would
so
say
bad.
it
was
was
boring.
fine. I would
It
say it
was
was fine.
no.
I would give it a fine. It was
Yeah,
fine.
I suppose. I
But
thought, yeah,
compare and contrast, Andor is like amazing.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess fine is. I'll be generous and give it a fine. It was
But the
just me.
Acolyte, I give that a D. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't
that was
even
probably a D.
watch an episode more of it.
I
I'm not
know.
even
Well,
going to
the
watch
end
it to
was
say that
so
I
weird.
did.
I was
I
like,
don't
what?
think.
Who cares? I think we're supposed to
I didn't
like.
watch the end of it. I only saw like one episode.
It was dumb. Don't worry about it. But that's the kind of thing where people go like, "Oh boy, yeah, like Star Wars really lost its luster." But then they come out with something like Andor, and you're like, "Oh, okay, it can be."
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah.
somebody like put a tweet out that I thought was funny, which was like, Tony Gilroy gets that Star Wars should be about like gigantic buttons and old crusty dials. It has that like
Yeah,
that
it can't be
that
too fancy.
77 like real like look to it. You know what I mean? Like they did a
Yeah,
lot of practical stuff. There were like there was a lot of like, the transmission's coming in and it would still be like the old LED from like
right,
77, or like they would be like, yeah, and then they'd like turn a dial that would be like on a vacuum cleaner from the 70s or something. Like, it was just so cool.
right. I know it's supposed to be. George Lucas always said "lived in." That was his.
Yeah.
That was his quote, right? It should be lived in.
And then like
So,
those big ass buttons. you know.
well, we'll see what happens, and maybe they'll do something else. There's supposed to be maybe a Ray movie. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
Well, there's a Ryan Gosling movie, Starfighter movie.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
I like Ryan Gosling.
he's like
All
an
right.
X-wing fighter.
All right. I mean, we'll see. There is stuff to there's meat on the bone there. So we'll see. So do you want to talk about the other movies now too? Since
Let's talk about movies. You go first. We'll go chronologically. So,
all right, yeah.
The experience is also that either one of us hasn't seen the other movie, and I'm going to see Thunderbolts, but you've seen Thunderbolts. And
yes.
I saw Mission Impossible, and I'm a fan, and you're not a fan. But I'm gonna give you my breakdown of Mission Impossible,
Okay.
and you're gonna tell me about Thunderbolts. And I gotta see. I know my time is ticking away. I need to see it in the theater.
Well, yeah. So Thunderbolts / New Avengers, which is kind of it's spoilery, but it's kind of been given away now. But like, I thought it would basically be Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? Like with Marvel characters, but they did a good job. Like obviously Florence Pugh as the White Widow, she's kind of the star, but everybody has like their moment. Bucky is great, obviously. The what's his name, Red Guardian.
Oh yeah, David Harbour.
Hellboy, David Harbour. Yeah, he's really funny. But at the end, he has like a moment where he's like, it's kind of like more serious, and you're like, oh, look at that, they did a good thing. He wasn't just a goofball the entire time. So I like that. They introduce a new character, which was not new to Marvel readers, but he's new to the MCU, so that's fine. And it's the Sentry.
Oh right, which is okay. I literally don't know much about this movie, but I do know about the Sentry. Sentry is maybe one of those like, it's like a take on Superman. He's like Superman, but in the Marvel universe, something like that. I don't know.
They kind of changed it, obviously, for the movie, which is it's just fine, but it's still he's they brought him in. It's fine.
Does he have his yellow and blue costume, or is he
kind of does, but it's kind of like as a send off, like it's kind of like I mean, he does have it, but it's more like, hey, like, our research shows that the yellow and blue is a good look, because obviously, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is one of my favorite actors of all time. She's in it, and she's kind of bringing this guy along to be like the next big hero, but she's like, you're going to do what I say kind of here, like, so she's like, yeah, we thought this would be a good costume,
Is
and
it like one of those things where like in Daredevil or Defenders or whatever, where like Luke Cage like actually does have to put on like a yellow shirt, he finds on the clothesline or something.
Right.
They just like put in the like Easter eggs, like there you see it, you have your screen grab, quit complaining.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's very entertaining. It's definitely like a new, because like after Endgame, we all know it. The movies have not been as good. And like they're kind of aimless, you know what I mean? There's not a lot.
Captain America, I would say, was a little aimless. It was fine.
Yeah, it was fine, but it wasn't offending me or anything. But also like was kind of pointless. It didn't really do anything. But like this one is kind of more like it seems like they're turning towards something. So I was happy about that. I'll just say this really quick too. Nothing to do with. No spoilers. Wyatt Russell as the U.S. agent, John Walker. Yeah. He was great. I thought he was really funny and cool.
In Winter Soldier too. I mean,
I think so. But he really gets a chance to shine in this one, and I really respect. But he's great.
He was good in that Godzilla show too.
Yeah, I never finished watching that, but I will. He's great. And like apparently, like I didn't know this. I've only seen him in those two things. But he did like he did a lot of like dumb comedies back like before he was in the MCU. Rachel told me about it. And I was like, oh, I didn't know he was funny. But yeah, like he's good. Like he can do it all. So yeah, worth your time. I think it gives me, it's kind of like Andor. It's like, oh yeah, wait, the Marvel movies can be good.
Oh, that's so great to hear that it's
it's fun.
It's more than, all I really needed to hear was that it was more than Captain America.
Yeah, definitely. Way better.
More to it.
Yeah, I think so. But I'm a fan, just like you're a fan of the Mission Impossible movies. So
I am, and I guess well, the final reckoning, Mission Impossible, which is Mission Impossible 8. So I've always kind of been not really huge until we like really, well, I mean, the Craig Bonds came out at a certain time where I was like, these are awesome, but I wasn't ever like a huge James Bond fan, except for that I like those kind of movies, spy action movies. And I think the first one came out in the 90s,
96.
It's been 30 years of Mission Impossible movies, and there's 8.
Pretty crazy.
And it's not like the MCU. And did you see Top Gun Maverick?
No, I never did get around to that. I know I missed out. Everybody said it's the best movie ever, but
it was really great. But and I'm not just saying that because like I like love Tom Cruise or whatever, like he's in a Stanley Kubrick movie that I like. Most people don't like, Eyes Wide Shut, but like I do. I like Tom Cruise. Like he doesn't offend. I get why people are like have sort of your attitude towards Tom Cruise. Like he's such a weirdo Scientologist, fucking weird, or you just don't like his face. Whatever it is about him, like I totally get it, but he doesn't elicit that reaction to me. And some of the some of the action in those movies is really just fucking cool. Like, go back to the first one where he's like, it's been parodied a million times,
famous, hanging
and
right
grabbing
off the bottom of
the
and
computer,
the sweat.
yeah,
he has to like grab the drip of sweat. I mean, I like the first one. I'm not gonna lie. It was a style at the time, and it was a lot of fun.
I don't know the 8 movies by the back of my hand, but I do have to say that the one with Henry Cavill that John and I think would almost convince you to watch for the podcast maybe one of these days. But
I watch it. We did. Which one did we watch? 4, 3? Watch 3, I think.
I think we watched 3, but but that one is. And it's like pretty recent. It's for the last like 10 years. That one is really good. That one, it was awesome to have Henry Cavill in it, because Henry Cavill also played
mustache.
He also, which I'm going to talk about. Henry Cavill also was in like The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which kind of sort of set him up to be like the next James Bond, or like in the Mission Impossible franchise, or like kind of more than Superman, like have him be like a spy in a spy sort of way, like a spy action hero. And like really like Henry Cavill, and he's great in that movie. But the thing is that it seems like I'm totally glazing Tom Cruise, but the fucking stunts are absolutely insane, and to be respected that he can do that. Like the Rogue Nation one with Henry Cavill, they do all this. They do like a helicopter kind of like helicopter pod race in between like really like close together mountains, and they actually flew the fucking helicopter, or Tom Cruise actually flew the helicopter,
right?
And it is just insane, and they do it all safely. And there's like the one where he's like hanging off of maybe that's the one we watched, where there's like a gigantic like ball, and he's like hanging off of it.
Which one did he break his leg? Didn't he break his leg?
I think that's the one where he's like hanging off the side of the plane.
Right. Yeah. That might have been definitely like or was there like a motorcycle off the plane or something? I think it was a Ghost Protocol or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, what this last Mission Impossible does, and what apparently like Tom Cruise like lied to Hollywood during COVID and like did all these things, or like he like they were like we're not gonna do movies, and he's like, no, we're doing movies. No, we're not doing movies. And then I guess he called like a competing studio and was like, well, hey, we're shooting our thing. And they were like, oh, really? And then, like then he called, they're like, well, I guess we'll shoot something.
Sure, we can't be left out.
Yeah. And then he like called Paramount and said, well, that other studio they told me they were going to shoot a movie. So like, let's shoot a movie. So like, there's genuine, like, his love for cinema and movies like cannot be denied. And the fact that he's like, you gotta see this in the theater, not just to say he did, but that he has like very much like a populist vision of like, I want to make movies that people are entertained by. And the last and the one before this, like, which was called like, I don't know, Dead Reckoning. Yeah. And it has Haley Atwell, who is Agent Carter in the MCU. Sure. She's great in it. That movie was great. It was fine. There was like a train fight in it, but it wasn't.
You love the train fight?
It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was like, it was not my favorite Mission Impossible movie. I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite. Mm-hmm. This one really did almost like in an MCU kind of way. It tied together all 8 movies, and the fucking stunts. I tell you, man, I can't believe that he's not dead, because he's like hanging off of a plane and like directing himself in the camera and doing all this stuff, and and you got Simon Pegg, you got Ving Rhames, and
right. Yeah.
they're just a ton of fine actors. They bring back somebody from the first movie, Angela Bassett, who's like found her way in a couple of these movies, playing the same person, but
Right.
like a different role. But she plays the president, which is
Oh,
cool.
nice.
And they're
Black female president. Who would have thought?
Yeah, and like it's no spoiler to say that. I mean, I could spoil it, but it's like basically an AI has taken over all the technology in the world, and they have to outsmart it. And the way they did it, like the script was great, the action was awesome. It was so worth it to see it in the theater, and like I'm gonna love it on my big TV. But it really, like I kind of I get what he's saying about that when he's like always like, you gotta go, we can't stop, we gotta make Top Gun Maverick, we gotta make more Mission Impossible. I don't care that the world is shut down, like that kind of thing. Like I totally get it. He just wants the most amount of people to see the movies, and he wants every second of it to be entertaining. And I can say for this past movie, every second of it was so worth going to the theater. Like it was just so cool.
Wow. Well, I do want to say, I mean, because I looked this up, because I knew he was up there, but Tom Cruise is 62. Yeah. I mean, it's impressive. I know, regardless of what I think of him, you don't keep doing this.
And he has
62.
Dude, he fucking has his shirt off most of the time, or not most of the time, but he has his shirt off a lot, and he doesn't have like any sort of like body fat and he doesn't look he doesn't look old and fit. He just looks like a regular, like he's in his 40s and he's really well put together. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's not doing this for the money. He's not doing this, for whatever. I mean, he's doing this at 62 because he wants to do it and he really enjoys it. Like, and I'll give him that. I'll give him all the props for that, because that he could have stopped a long time ago. He could have just said, nah, you know what? I've done 5 of these. That's plenty. You know what I mean? Like, and not to bring it back to the MCU that much, but I mean, some of those actors like Chris Evans and well, I guess Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, but you know what I mean? Like some of those actors are like, yeah, I did a bunch of those and I'm good.
Like Zoe Saldana. She's not coming back.
Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista. I mean, I get it. They had to sit in the makeup chair for like 1 million hours. But like Chris Evans, who was only like 40 something, like, or 45 or whatever. He's like, oh, I can't get into superhero shape again. That's too much. It's really a lot of work, And here's Tom Cruise, 62, still doing it. So it's passion. I'll give him that. I think he's a little bit of a crazy man, but good for him.
He wants to. This is just like the movie making part of it that I don't understand. I'm like an armchair cinematographer or an armchair like behind the scene. We do podcasts about movies, so like and I always like comment about like how it like looked, or whatever. Like, I look more of at like, whereas you like more analyze like the characters and their motivations and like maybe like the dialogue and stuff like that. I'm always kind of like in a broad sense, just I'm looking at like how did they shoot this, like what did they do, like what are the behind the scenes things. And like they were like, every time they make one of these movies, they want to outdo the movie they themselves made before. So he's like in a submarine and there's like and it's flooding, and they're like, well, there's been flooding in submarines in movies before, but like what if we had the torpedoes like rolling at him because the submarine is like turning, and they're like, how do we film that? Like they just like kind of they're set themselves up at a high level already, and they're only trying to outdo themselves, which is impressive. Like just as far as in like a creative way.
Yeah. No, I mean, they've been doing it for this long. The expectations are high. So,
and even if you watched the first Mission Impossible and then just watched this last one, this last one is so good. It was just great. It was great.
Well, maybe I will check it out, even though I'm not I haven't seen too many of them, but
Well, if
it's getting a lot of
we kind of have like
praise.
a dearth of like, we don't have like to me, like Mission Impossible slots itself in as James Bond. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's
right,
like the
right.
archetype. Like I like those kinds of things. So
Mm.
Mission Impossible is as close as you can get to James Bond. And you get Simon Pegg. He's funny.
Yeah.
Like he's great.
It is interesting in a way, like we were talking to, like James Bond, Daniel Craig did what, 5, James Bond movies, and he was like, oh man, I'm kind of done with that. Like, but Tom Cruise keeps wanting to come back as Ethan Hunt. So that's pretty impressive.
I'm almost positive this really is the last one of these. They're gonna make him and McQuarrie are gonna make different other movies with different characters.
Right. I mean, you kind of have to. I mean,
they wrapped it up.
Is a lot. Okay,
they wrapped it up like Endgame style. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it could end here.
Good.
Not like No Time to Die style. That wasn't good.
Okay. No, that wasn't a good way to wrap things up at all.
I mean, compare that to No Time to Die. I mean, no question. Like Mission Impossible is a way better movie.
All right.
But I like it. I understand how people and you or whatever, like, or maybe you just don't like Mission Impossible. I understand how people feel about Tom Cruise. I get it. He's a fucking weird fucking guy. But I just from a getting up there and like just like it's inspiring almost, like just he's like, yeah, let's. It
kind of is. It's funny though too. I mean, I haven't seen them, like I said, but I feel like these are just becoming. It's just about Tom Cruise doing his thing. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe his acting is awesome, but you know what I mean. He's kind of being. I feel like it's more like Tom Cruise in starring in a movie or just being. It's not Ethan Hunt anymore.
Executive producer. It's definitely I don't disagree with you. It's a showcase for his talent, but the story is pretty good, and that I was trying to explain before, like he wants the most amount of people to watch the movie. Like there's no like it's not the same as dumbing down, but it's like you can watch this movie without having any knowledge of anything else that happened. Like it's not. It's just very what's the word? Except it's accessible. It's like very accessible to anyone.
Well, there you go. Because
you'll never be like, what's happening? Because the guy that plays Milicic on
oh, that's right. I saw him on the trailer.
Yeah, he's like the submarine commander, and he's like, you're never like, what did that sub commander guy do? Because the sub commander guy goes, so we're gonna take you to that island, and you're gonna do your mission where you need to do X. And you're like, yes, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? Like it's not, like it's not like when in Andor where it's like a couple of times like Stacey would turn to me or I'd turn to her and be like, wait, what's I don't know if that's a good guy or a bad guy. There's none of that. You know exactly what's going on. It's like, I wish we could watch the recap of this episode. I just don't know who these, like a common thing you hear around this house is like, I don't remember who these people are.
I know. Well, that's the problem. Sometimes you watch a lot of shows and you're like, I don't remember any of this stuff. But a movie I can handle. 2 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's like, that movie's like 207.
So, that's decent.
Maybe not. Handle that. Maybe it's not. Maybe for you, it's not a movie theater worth seeing. But I still say that the Henry Cavill one and this one are. If it comes across your desk,
okay,
you know what I mean.
All right, that sounds like a good review. Do you want to go one more? Should we wrap it up? What do you think? We had one more we were going to talk about, but I would probably say something bad. Do you want to? We were going to talk about Sinners a little bit. Do you still want to?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Sinners. Glad you remembered that we were going to talk about Sinners because I forgot. We both had, and this is like not a Tom Cruise thing, but we both had a very different experience watching Sinners. I texted you and was like, it's Memorial Day. Stacey and I want to go see Sinners. We have the Vampire Council. vampcouncil.com, where you can listen to our What We Do in the Shadow podcast and a couple of vampire movies. So I was thinking vampires. And I was expecting you to be like, oh, I hadn't seen it. Let's go. We would love to come. And you were like, we saw it.
Yeah.
And then this is how I knew you didn't like it. You said, curious to know your thoughts.
That was me being, because I feel bad. Sometimes I feel like I set you up. You know what I mean? To like,
no. Because I know that you were being, I know that you were being delicate.
I shouldn't have said anything.
I knew you were being delicate. So I can see through that because I know you for so well. I know. I was like, oh, he said that. I wonder if he did. I bet it means he didn't like it.
I wanted to write, oh boy, I wanted to write all kinds of stuff, and I was like, no, I can't say any of that stuff. But
well, since I pent you up by, you did not interrupt me by saying how much you thought Tom Cruise was a weirdo. Let you get it all out on Michael B. Jordan.
Nothing against Michael B. Jordan as a person or an actor or a director. I mean, you know what? I've Black Panther, right? But I don't know if I don't know about anything else. Black Panther. But like
Creed. Did you see Creed?
Oh, I saw the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, he did the first Creed. I don't think he did the second Creed.
It was Rocky with a black guy.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was fine, actually. I didn't mind it.
But would you consider this his like blank check? Like he gets to do his own thing now.
Absolutely, 100%. This is him and his buddies. I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to take credit for this, but my downstairs neighbor, your friend and mine, he pointed it out. I'm going to quote him. He said, they were like sitting around one night getting drunk and said, do you want to make a movie together? And this is what happened. Like, they were like, yeah, let's make a movie. What do you make? Let's make it about vampires and music. And this is what happened. Like, that's all it is. And I mean, sure. I don't know. It's one of those movies though, like, I don't know the runtime of that one, but it felt long to me. It's
a pretty long movie.
Yeah, I felt every minute of it. At the beginning, it's fine. You're like, okay, we're introducing these two guys. We get it, racism in the South, and sure, yep.
It's 2 hours 17 minutes.
Okay, well, it
was a long movie.
Forever. I mean, I've watched movies that are longer than that that were just like, hey, that was fun. This was, oh my god, this was long to me. And it was at the end too. I was like, they're still going. Like, it's one of those movies you're like, Jesus. But I mean, obviously I'm in the minority. This is one of those movies, right? That everyone loves. Everyone. Except me and Kenny.
Yeah. And Kenny. Did you see it with Kenny?
No, we were gonna. That was the whole thing. Like they had or maybe they had already seen it. Whatever it was, but we had talked to them about it, and for whatever reason we couldn't go with them, but we saw it anyway. And we were like, oh my god, like I think it was the same kind of thing. They were like, oh, we're curious to see what you think. But I get what they were going for. Maybe it's just me, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but I thought it was just boring.
It wasn't for you.
It wasn't like, like From Dusk Till Dawn, the Tarantino.
It's fast.
And
it's a pretty fast movie.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I went to see that, and it's like, a Tarantino heist movie, and then all of a sudden they go into the bar, the titty twister, and then a bunch of vampires come out and they all just kill each other, So I kind of thought like, oh, maybe this will be like that. It'll be like fun and whatever. It wasn't really fun. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I would have been fine with it if it was even like that. And I didn't even love that movie, but it's fine,
Yeah.
But
all right.
Yeah. So that's about it, I guess. It just wasn't very fun to me. What do you have to say about Sinners?
Well, it was, and I've like, I've already laid out to you my careful timetable here. Like, there's certain movies I need to see this summer, like Superman. Nobody. Certain ones, 28 years later, and Sinners was like at the top of the list, and also check, uh, Mission Impossible, and I of course need to see the MCU movie. I need to see Thunderbolts. I have to. Even if I have to, it's like the last day it's playing, and I have to drive out to Worcester to see it. I have to see it. But anyways, Sinners. I sort of watched some behind the scenes stuff before, and just kind of like what I was saying about Mission Impossible, about the craft, and like Coogler shot it like in 3 different formats live, like so IMAX, 70 millimeter, and like regular, like whatever it's called, like regular 35 millimeter or whatever it's called, so that your IMAX, and not taking it and then like reformatting it to the IMAX screen or a 70 millimeter. He had 3 cameras shooting the exact same thing every take. So I was like, that's pretty interesting. I was like, I want to see this in 70 millimeter or IMAX. My first plan was the IMAX thing, and then I saw that our friends at the Coolidge Corner Theater they were, I guess they were, I was talking to the guy at concessions. They had to, like, it wasn't easy for them to just get that movie in 70 millimeter to play there. They were lucky to get it, and we got tickets to see it like on Memorial Day. Everybody had it off, so me and Stacy and a couple of other friends went and saw it. And I will say that somebody else that went with us felt exactly the way you did.
Oh, okay.
Stacy and I felt, and they said something about, I didn't even really notice or even know that Michael B. Jordan was playing 2 different characters. I thought it was 2 different actors. I just didn't. I was like, oh, who's that guy? I really didn't know that. I for some reason I just didn't.
Well,
they're
you were into it. Sure.
Yeah, and one of the things he said was like, when they're like leaning, and this is a small thing, like just a little scene in the movie they show in the trailer, but it's like when they show him like passing the cigarette to his brother, but it's doubles, but I guess he was like, oh, I guess you're just showing off, because I guess they did that and they did that in a way that look really seamless or whatever. But I wasn't even focused on that. I think maybe because I do have like a pretty heavy like music background, that I really was engaged with the music part of the story, which is like half of the story. It's half music and half vampires. And I thought that it was, I thought that was very cool. And I liked the different kinds of vampires, and that they kept tricking people into going outside or getting inside,
inviting them in.
Inviting them in, which is something we even know from what we do in the shadows. It's like you have to be welcomed in, but they like made that like a big, like that was the plot point. That was like a big part of it. And I really liked the music. It's not even just like the soundtrack, but like the story of the music and blues through hip hop and the dance and everything. Like, I really loved those parts of the movie. I thought that was like really spectacular and fun and like entertaining, and also like kind of, made me feel smart, like it was educational, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And then the Irish vampires, I thought that was cool, like, because also like, I do deal with a lot of like Irish folk musicians and stuff too. So I was like, oh, they're playing a different kind of music outside. And then to jump to the end, I didn't feel like I was enjoying myself. So I didn't feel like it was a long movie. I was just like, okay, like what's happening? And then like to jump like to the end of the movie, like the final boss death I thought was like cool and a fun monster, and it was like reminding me like the in Interview with the Vampire, another Tom Cruise movie, where like we're really like the sun, like the vampire tropes, like the vampires can't be in the sun; they will burn to crisp. And I thought the monster, kind of was cool, Irish vampire, and like the tradition of the guitar, and then how it and then one of my favorite things to do in a movie, if they do it really well, is like a big time jump, and they did one that I thought was really cool, and I loved it. I was like, 5-star vampire movie.
All right, cool. Hey, well, I'm glad you liked it, and like most people did. So, like I said, there's probably just something wrong with me, but
no, there's nothing wrong with you. I think that you're like what you said was, the other, like I said, like another person I went to the movies with, like pretty much had the same reaction as you did. So I don't know. Let's look at. I just want to look at its Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably like very high.
It's 97 critics, 96 audience.
Oh my god, that's insane. I mean, that's like one of the best movies of all time, apparently, according to Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, 97 and 90.
But you say that Rachel kind of, not to put words in her mouth, and she's her own human being in her own right, but
of course,
did she also not enjoy it?
I think she was kind of just, she wasn't as critical as I was, but I think she was also just like meh, on it. I think she enjoyed it more, but I don't think she would give it a 96 or 97 or anything like that. But
there's something in the water over there in Watertown, North Dakota.
I guess so. That's what I was thinking. I was like, why are we dealing with this? Because our downstairs neighbor didn't like it, although his wife did like it. So,
well, that's the beauty of doing this podcast for going on 15 years is our difference of opinion.
Indeed. That's what makes it fun.
And respect.
Yeah, I'm not like, you idiot. How dare you? I can't believe you like that movie, you idiot. You must be blind.
You don't like Tom Cruise. Like,
you must have,
actually,
you must not have eyes.
Yeah, I can always say, no, I can believe you don't like Tom Cruise. I get that.
Yeah, that's the great 100%. Thing about you. Like, I get it.
I totally get that. That's a long-standing complaint from a lot of people. Katie Holmes, for example.
Yeah, right. Oh.
I always have to bring back the Batman.
All right, on that note, we should wrap it up. Don't forget, Thursday, June 12th, that might be today that you're watching it. And if it is, check out my show on Whatnot. League Podcast.
Follow. We're always saying to follow us on Spotify and YouTube, which I guess I just did. But follow this Whatnot account. You'll know about the future ones if you're just coming to you later. We don't know when you're going to listen to it.
You can follow people over there, so follow us. And there will be future ones because, like we said, Clay has 20 long boxes.
At least.
So a bunch of them are going to be sold. So thanks for watching. And thanks to you, Clay, as always.
Commander on the bridge. Thanks to you.
As you were.
At ease.